وَلَا تَخُطُّهُ بِيَمِينِكَ, nor were you able to transcribe it with your right hand. إِذَا الْأَرْطَابَ الْمُبْتِلُونَ. In that case, these talkers of vanity, these babblers in the marketplaces, they might have had some reason to doubt. Muhammad was a learned man. He says, you see, he was in a certain university, and now he's telling you these things, his theories. Yes, they might have some reason to doubt if he had been through that schooling, if the Arabs had some knowledge or understanding of science, learning, nothing. Allah shows you that He sends you an ummi prophet to an ummi people. Amazing. He chooses a nation steeped in ignorance, the whole of Arabia. There were no more than half a dozen people that could read or write in the whole of Arabia. The nation is ummi to the core, and he chooses an ummi prophet. You know why? To prove to you that this is my work. This is I am doing. Thomas Carlyle describes the people and what the Quran did to them. It says, a poor shepherd people. These Arabs. A poor shepherd people, roaming unnoticed in his deserts in the creation of the world. From the time Allah Bari Ta'ala created, since then, roaming unnoticed. Nobody gives you a second look. Nobody gave the Arabs a second look. There's some interesting people here. They've got beautiful women there. Nothing. They won't give you a second look. A liability to anybody who'll take you on. You're a liability. What are they going to do with this? People who married the stepmothers, who buried the daughters alive, fratricidal wars over little things, killing one another. Cannibals. What are you going to do with them? Alexander the Great passed you by. The Persians passed you by. The Romans passed you by. Nobody interested in this human rubbish. He said, a poor shepherd people. Thomas Carlyle says this. A poor shepherd people, roaming unnoticed in his deserts in the creation of the world. See, the unnoticed becomes world notable. The small has grown world great. Within 1 century afterwards, Arabia is at Granada on this hand and at Delhi on that. Glancing in valor and splendor and the light of genius, Arabia shines over a great section of the world. He says, belief is great, life-giving. The history of a nation becomes fruitful, soul-elevating, great, so soon as it believes. Is it not? As if a spark had fallen, one spark, on a world of what seemed black unnoticeable sand. But lo, the sand proves explosive powder, blazes heaven high from Delhi to Granada. What did it? This book of God. That shepherds and camel drivers, one of our cousins, a Jew, writing a book on medicine, he's having a dig at his Arab cousins. The Jew is writing about medicine, but he's having his own. He's having a dig at us. You know what he says? He says, goat herds and camel drivers sitting on the throne of the Caesars. This is what these Arabs, goat herds and camel drivers sitting on the throne of the Caesars. This is Allah's work. You see, not you. You couldn't have done it. Allah is showing you. He said, look, this is what I can do. He's having a dig. But I said, there can't be a greater tribute than that. That from that goat herds and camel drivers, Allah made you supreme, made you to rule half the known world. This is His book. This is what He did. And it can do the same once more again. It's a book, a miracle of miracles. Another example, in Surah Yasin, chapter 36, verse 36. Allah describes about sexes in the vegetable kingdom, in the animal kingdom, and of things that we don't know, which are all recent discoveries. He says, Subhanalladhi khalaqal azwaja kullaha. He says, glory be to Him who has created mates of everything, mimma tumbitul ardu, of that which the earth produces, the vegetable kingdom, wa min anfusikum, and from among yourselves, the animal kingdom, and wa mimma la ya'lamun, and of things that you don't know. mates of everything. It's a recent discovery that even plants, flowers have sexes. There are some flowers that have male and female in itself. There are other plants and trees, they are separate sexes. Like the date palm. The male tree is different from the female tree. I'm sure you Arabs know that. See, we didn't know that. Mankind didn't know that. In the time of the Prophet, they didn't know that. Our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, he saw some Arabs, some of his children, the Arabs, little children, they were taking some flowers from the male tree and they were hitting on the female plant. So when Nabi asked the people, he said, why are they doing that? He said, we don't know. He said, no, he said, we saw our fathers doing it. Now this was the pet explanation for all the superstitions. They're worshipping idols and images. So why? So we found our fathers doing that. When you do such and such a thing, you know, and horrible things, he said, why? He said, we saw our fathers doing that. So Allah says, even if your fathers were ignorant fools, so now it seems like superstition. You're taking one plant and beating onto the other plant. It looks like superstition. So he says, stop it. See, the same type of argument which you use for your idols, your idol worship, now using for this. Stop it. And so they stopped it. And there was a crop failure that year in Medina. Very meager crop. So they came complaining to him. He said, oh Muhammad, look what you told us to do, and look as a result. Look at our dates. So when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, look, you carry on with your beating of the plant. He didn't know, I don't know whether he knew, that this is a male plant and this is a female plant. They, Arabs, somehow they discovered by accident that sometimes when our children did that and that tree bear fruit in abundance. So he said, right, it's very good. So very good. They started doing it, keeping it going. Now they discovered, no, if you don't do that, because they didn't know about pollination, that the insects and the bees and the wind was doing the job, but it's not as good as you doing it physically, bringing them together, because the male plant can't come and walk and meet the female plant. Same thing in the pawpaws. It's a papaya, pawpaws, beautiful fruit. You see, I planted, I love this fruit. I ate one day and very tasty, so I took the seeds and I threw in my garden. And 2 pawpaw trees, they started, papaya, started growing. I don't know what you call it. Pawpaws. Is it understood? Papaya. We say papaya. They started growing. And in time they bore fruit, delicious fruit. Very tasty. So I took the seed and I planted again. Nothing. And I keep on planting the seeds, nothing is happening. Then I dried them up in ashes and planted, nothing happens. Then different ways of treating the seed. I tried and tried and tried, nothing happens. And I can't understand. Why? What's happened? When I threw the thing first and it grew, and now nothing is growing out of these seeds. The seeds look perfect. And it took me a long time to discover what when Allah says, Subhanallazi khalaqal azwaja kullaha mimma tumbitul ardu, of the vegetable kingdom. Then I found that the pawpaw trees, this papaya, there is a male tree and a female tree, like in the dates. The female tree has big flowers growing around the trunk. The male tree has a small stalks, and at the end of it are small flowers. The bees and the wind does the job of pollination. If there is a male tree around, it will be fertile. If there's no male tree, you can have 100 female trees, you'll get the fruit. But the seeds are all useless, worthless. You can't plant the seeds. You can't have any more pawpaws. Once they're old and dead, gone, finishes the furnish. 1400 years ago, Allah Bari Ta'ala, through his Ummi Prophet, is telling us, Subhanallazi, glory be to him, khalaqal azwaja kullaha. Miracle of knowledge. I think I will end with this one last example for this evening. As I say, there are endless, wallah, there are endless. An illiterate a layman like me, I can give you a dozen. I give you, this book of Allah is a miracle of journalism. Journalism is a miracle, wallah, of embryology, what information it gives you. Psychology, look, each and every man of science. I said, go to the book and look at the book. Analyze it from your particular form of knowledge that Allah gave you and look at it. It's a miracle from every point of view, wallah. Mu'jiza is a miracle of miracles. So I said, journalism. You see, I discovered this by accident. Most of these things I'm discovering by accident. But accidents are no accidents. Allah Bari Ta'ala is Musabbibul Asbab. He creates opportunities. If your eyes are open, somebody is speaking and he gives you a cue and you discover something. And somebody shows you something and you discover something. Because you are in the field. I live outside Durban, about 20 miles out. And every morning I was traveling at a road, in the road we call the beach road, like the Corniche, on the seaside, into Durban. Now they have a freeway, so I don't use that Corniche road anymore, the beach road anymore. I take the freeway because it's faster, quicker, no obstruction to get to my work. So on the old road, I remember very, very distinctly that at a certain intersection, there was a news vendor, early morning newspaper, and he had a placard, every morning a new placard, trying to sell his newspaper. So while driving, I read the placard, and I make up my mind, the newspaper is not worth buying today. I don't want to buy the newspaper. According to the placard, what they're offering me, the news inside, I'm not interested. So I park my car in Durban, in the city. This is just on the outskirts of the city. In the city, I park my car, I take a walk to my office, and on the way, another intersection, I see the same newspaper seller, not the same man, but for the same newspaper, but there's a placard, it's different. I read the placard and I buy the paper. The same morning paper. The placard is different. Again it happens and again it happens. I don't want to buy and I buy. I don't want to buy and I buy. And I'm trying to think, why does it happen like that? I didn't want to buy and I bought. Why? So I said, yeah, right. I got the joke. The joke was that the place where at the intersection I'm talking about, on the Corniche, is a white area. Europeans, they live. So you are separated into races. And that placard is catering for white readership. They are trying to bait the white man to buy the paper. Placard that will appeal to him, the white man. It doesn't interest me. Talking about Zola Bud, one of our girl runners. I'm not interested in Zola Bud. So, says, man, she won, so what? Something else about some white, so Gary Player, he won $1 million for his God. So what? I'm not interested. But as soon as I come into town, the Indian area, see, we are separated into races. And the placard there, same morning paper, but the placard there is something that appeals to me, so I buy. The newspaper is the same, not two different newspapers. But within it, there are different articles, different subjects, different topics. So they are now fishing. For the whites, a different placard. For the Indians, different placard. For the Africans, different placard. For the coloreds, different placard. What the fish will bite. They know how to catch fish. So I said, right, that is the game. Why I'm getting caught out. I don't want it and I buy it. So the best journalist, the master journalist, is a journalist who can give you a placard that everybody will buy. Not 4 different placards. He writes articles, he writes about topics, and if he advertises that one placard, he says the Pakistani will buy, the Bangladeshi will buy, the Arab will buy, the American will buy, everybody buys. If you can have a journalist like that in the Khalij Times or in the Gulf News, the newspaper owners will never let the man go. You know that? Every day a placard which makes his paper everybody to buy. He's a master journalist. And Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is such a journalist. He's not him. He's a master journalist. About the omnipotent, the omniscient, knowing his creation, knowing how to bait you, how to catch you, how to get people be attracted to his book. He's showing you. Our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in Medina. He's surrounded by mushriks, his own people, mushriks. He's surrounded by munafiqs. He's surrounded by Muslims, he's surrounded by Jews, he's surrounded by Christians. 5 different groups of people. And you want to sell your newspaper. The idea, your proclamation. How do you catch fish like that? 5 different groups of people. Listen. He says, not he, Allah is, through him, using him as a mouthpiece. He says, وَهَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى. Has the story of Moses reached you? Think. A proclamation. Has the story of Moses reached you? The Jew wants to know. When he hears that, وَهَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى. What does he know about Musa? Watch, see how he makes a fool of himself. And the Christian, he says, look man, where is now dabbling into unknown ground now? And the mushrik, he said, we'll watch the fun now, what the Jews and the Christians do to him now. And the Muslim, hungry, he says, yes, we want to know, what about Musa? Everybody is agog. Everybody wants to know what? Say, Izra'a naran, when you saw a fire. Dramatization, visualization. You can visualize the scene. قال لأهلهم كسوا إني آنست نارا لعلي آتيكم منها بقبس أو أجد على النار هدى. He says, behold, he tells his family, I see a fire. And perhaps I'll get a burning brand from there or some guidance at the fire. Illusions, giving ideas. He's talking about fire. He's talking about guidance. Allah Bari Ta'ala is baiting him. He's actually baiting him because he's hungry for fire. He's hungry for guidance. You see, after the mishap in Egypt, when he had killed an Egyptian, in trying to defend a Jew, he slapped an Egyptian too hard, and he was a mighty strong man, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. He was no weakling. He gave this man a slap, and the man fell and he died. And he had to flee from the country. He killed an Egyptian. Unforgivable crime. Here goes into Midian, and there he helps 2 girls in distress. They were trying to water the sheep and goats, and the other men folk were taking unfair advantage because of their weakness. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam goes to the rescue, and he helps them to water the sheep and goats. They go and tell the father, says, you know, there's a young man at the well, and he's a very young, very handsome fellow, and he's very good-hearted, and you know, Dad, if you can have him with us, you know, he'll be a great asset. So go and bring him. So they bring him, and Jethro, Shoaib, he makes a contract with Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. He says, look, my son, you know, we need a hand, somebody to help us, and if you will stay with us, he said, look, you work for me for 7 years, and I'll give you my daughter in marriage, hands in marriage. You can have her as a wife. Oh, the bargain is struck, and he fulfills his 7 years, and he gets his wife, and maybe another 7 years, and he's got 250 children, or half a dozen children. Now he's getting bored. A man who lived in the city, in royalty, now he's now in the desert looking after sheep and goats for 10 years, 14 years. He's bored. He wants to get out. So he tells his father-in-law, says, look, Daddy, I would like to go into the world and make way for myself. He said, look, my son, your wife is your wife, your children are your children, and here is your share of your sheep and goats. You are welcome to leave. So he goes into the Sinai. He's moving from one place to another, one oasis to another. And he supposedly runs out of meat. He's got those dry bread, what the Jews eat, mastos they call it, you know. Unleavened bread of the Jews, no yeast. And that remains. You know, even it's hard as rock, but it's there. You can chew and chew and chew. It won't rot in a hurry. He's got that. But he's thinking about slaughtering a sheep or a goat. Start a fire, braise it, dry it up and carry on. But now he's procrastinating. We all do. Lazy. Today, tomorrow. Today, tomorrow. I'll do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. Because it's hard job starting a fire. It'll take half a day. A piece of wood and a rock, rubbing half a day. So he's procrastinating. Today, tomorrow. And it's towards evening. And he sees on the fire, Allah is baiting him. Allah is catching fish. Look, he's showing you what you want. He said, look, come. How else could he call him? He said, look, you come away. I want to talk to you. But he knows that this man at the back of his mind is thinking of fire, and he's also thinking what is the next best place, oasis that he can go to. So he's baiting him with that. What he wants, he's hungry for, he's baiting with that. So he says to his family, behold, I see a fire. Perhaps I'll get a burning brand from there, a burning coal. And then, very easy to start a fire. And no time, fire is started. Easy, see, easy fire. And some guidance at the fire to the next best oasis. Women, good habitation, good people, hospitable people. He says you go three days this way, 2 days that side, and you'll come across a people, very good people. Allah wants to give him a fire and a guidance. But he's thinking of other fire and other guidance. Illusion. فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا نُودِيَ يَا مُوسَى. And when he came to the fire, a voice was heard, O Moses, إِنِّي أَنَا رَبُّكَ فَاخْلَعْنَا عَلَيْكَ. Says, I am your Lord, and take off your shoes. إِنَّكَ بِالْوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوَى. For thou art in the sacred valley of Tuwa. 4 verses, 4 ayats. And what he has told you. A miracle of journalism. How to attract people to listen to the message. A placard. A better Halataka Hadisu Musa. An allusion to fire. Fire that burns in the hearts of man for 3,000 years. A guidance which is guiding mankind for thousands of years. Allah, this is the miracle of miracles. Now, what does it hold for us? This book is Allah's kalam, without doubt. And Allah Bari Ta'ala is challenging mankind. Qul, tell them. These people, these skeptics, these unbelievers, tell them, قُلْ لَإِنِ اجْتَمَعَتِ الْإِنسُ وَالْجِنُّ عَلَىٰ أَنْ يَأْتُوا بِمِثْلِ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ. That if the gatherings of jinns and men, if they were to gather together to produce the like of this Qur'an, say, لَا يَعْتُونَ بِمِثْلِهِ وَلَوْ كَانَ بَعْضُهُمْ لِبَعْضٍ زَهِيرًا. He says, you will never be able to produce the like thereof, even if you help one another, back one another with help and support. This is the book. Allah says, this is my book. What does it mean for us? It means that this book is an eternal book of guidance for you and for me, for the whole of mankind. It's a solution to the problems of mankind. But we are all sitting on this book like a cobra on a pile of wealth. We won't have access to it. We are reading it, we are reciting it for beautification, for sawab, 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 blessings, blessings. You will get your sawab. There's no doubt about that. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when you recite the Quran and when you say alif lam mim, say alif lam mim is not a word. There are 3 letters, alif lam mim. When you say alif lam mim, it says you get 10 sawabs. 30 sawabs. While I am uttering it, I got it so many times already. And you listening, you got it already. I said alif lam mim, 30, 10. If I say it 100 times, 100 times 10. You got it. So easy. I believe in that. Sawab is there. Blessings are there. Benefits are there. But, is that the purpose of the Quran? Just cheap sawab you want to get? Look, you can get a 1,000,000-fold reward. This is 10 to 1. You want to do business? 10 to 1. When you do 1,000,000 to 1. بِغَيْرِ hisab, without accounting. I do business with him, wallah. I like to do business with him. بِغَيْرِ hisab. I don't want 10. You be satisfied with your 10. You will get it. I do business with my Lord. He is prepared to give you بِغَيْرِ hisab. If you will only take it, accept it, and implement it in your life. It's a book of instructions. It's instructing you what to do. He's telling you this honor he has given you, share it with people. Don't be selfish. We are a selfish lot of people. Muslim, we are selfish. Wallah, we are very selfish. Everywhere. I ask my brother, you are very regular in your salat, mashallah. I want to know who you making salat for. Say, for my benefit. For your benefit. MashaAllah. I say, you fast for 1 whole month. Said yes. I said, for whose benefit? He said, my benefit. Yes, your benefit. He says, you give zakat. He said, yes. For whose benefit? My benefit. You go for Hajj. He said, yes. For whose benefit? My benefit. Everything you're doing for my benefit, my benefit, my benefit. I said, what are you doing for other man? What are you doing for him? For the unbeliever. You believe he's going to hell? The mushrik. He said, yes. Definite? He said, definite. Allah says so. One thing he will not forgive is shirk. And they are going to go to hell. He said, yes. What you doing to save them? Nothing. So Allah will be very happy with you. They are not his makhluk, not his creation. Allah will be happy. You allow them to go to hell and you did nothing. You know, he gave us a slogan. 1400 years ago, he gave the Muslims a slogan. We call it talbiyah in Arabic. I don't know literally what it means. But this is what I learned when I went for Hajj in 1983. I was hearing words. You know what people do when they go around the Kaaba, they read, Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik. I was hearing, and more or less, I learned that. But I didn't see the import, the implication of that. I didn't see it. Until when I started going around myself. Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik, Labbaik, La Sharika Laka Labbaik, Innal Hamda, Wa Ni'mata Laka Wal Mulk, La Sharika Lak. And I found that by the time I finished off, and the people finished off, the dullest of us, the people with little intelligence, the least of us, everyone, by the time he finishes, he knows the words, La Sharika Lak, La Sharika Lak, La Sharika Lak. So what is that? You telling Allah that He has no associates, He has no partners, He has no equals, He has no compeers. That's what you're saying. La Sharika Lak, La Sharika Lak. But this is not true. This is not true. Because as soon as you return from where you come, there are mushriks abounding. There are more people on God's good earth who are worshipping men and monkeys, elephants and snakes today. Worshipping shaitan today than the worshippers of Allah. And you said, La Sharika Lak. We all take from Makkah, Medina, we take with us Zamzam water from Makkah, we take dates from Makkah, and we buy a lot of things very cheap in Makkah, and we load ourselves and we take them home, and we take the title Haji. We are the Haji. I did Hajj. I said, you know, this title, I was thinking it was easy. You know, you go in a plane, comfortable air-conditioned planes, and you have everything provided, and air-conditioned hotels, and you become a Haji. So what? But wallah, I tell you, I can testify that if you've been through the process, you deserve the title Haji. You deserve it. It's an ordeal, wallah, it's an ordeal. We are doing it for Allah's sake. If a man paid me $1 million to go through that again with my wife and child, I'll never do it. But for Allah's sake, I will do it. What you have to go to the what do you call the place where you stone? You know, I tell you. Somebody hit me with a stone on my forehead, bleeding. I lost my watch. My watch came off. I lost my shoes. I fell down. Had it not been for some Pakistanis, I tell you, Allah, I would have been a dead man. You wouldn't have seen me here today. Yeah, because once you fall, it's finished. You can't get up. I'm physically quite a fit fellow, but once you are down there, you are finished. Some Pakistanis helped me, alhamdulillah. I lost $1,000. It was around the big belt I had. It was all cash, and that thing came out. Once before, the day before, or that morning, I went, and I saw something there. We were wanting to go, my wife and my daughter and myself. And I saw people as if they were on fire. People, you know, that they're making a charge, you know, like it says, charge of the light brigade. You know, people, they gather together and they're charging through people. I said, what do you want to hit shaitan? There are human shaitans all abounding. Wallah, shaitans all over. So we retreated. But now we have to go through the process, otherwise I'm not a Haji. So we made a second attempt, and at the second attempt all these things happen. Not for $1 million, but for Allah's sake we do it. I say, I deserve the title Haji. Okay? But don't waste it on me. This is what we take. Zamzam water, dates, goods, and title. But the talbiyah, you said, La Sharika Lak. This is the slogan. The United Nations, they have the different commissions, and every year they come out with a slogan. This is water year. Save it. Use it. Don't abuse it. This is the year for the aged. It says an old age home is not her destiny. Your mother, when she grows old, don't put her in an old age home. This is year for planting trees. Wherever they pass a resolution, the whole world of the United Nations, wherever they are, they talk about the same thing. Water, 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 trees, 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 old aged people, This is the purpose of a slogan. Carry it out. 1400 years, we are crying, La Sharika Lak. La Sharika Lak, and we leave it behind. The thing that we are supposed to take with, we are supposed to bring with, we leave that behind, and we bring dates and Zamzam water. Yes. Because wherever you go, in India, you Hajis, you Pakistanis, you go to West, you go, wherever you go, in South Africa, there are people doing shirk. In all directions, shirk, shirk, shirk. You and I are supposed to find them. So La Sharika Lak, you are supposed to tell them, La Sharika Lak, Allah has no associates, don't associate any being with Him. This is your job. We are supposed to do. We are supposed to stand in a marketplace, doing Allah's work. Our Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, look at the example. He used to retire to Ghar Hira, Jabal al-Nur, before Nubuwa. He used to go there, sometimes alone, sometime with his dear wife Ummul Mu'mineen Khadijatul Kubra. He used to spend days and weeks there at times to commune with the Almighty. What was actually happening, the details, I do not know. What was the details about that experience of his? It's only after Nubuwa we have a detailed record of what transpired. What was happening between him and his Lord, I don't know. But on the 27th of the month of Ramadan, don't start questioning me about the 27th. This is generally accepted. On the 27th of the month of Ramadan, when he was 40 years old, Allah Bari Ta'ala sends his angel, Akhi Jibreel, to him in the cave and commands him in his mother tongue, Iqra, which means read, or recite, or rehearse, or repeat. And our Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, being an ummi, he says, Ma ana biqari. There's a testimony that he can't read. He's telling. He said, look, ma ana biqarin. He said, I'm not learned. So the angel of God commands him a second time, Iqra. Again he pleads. He said, ma ana biqarin. He's terrified. The third time the angel of God says, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. So read in the name of thy Lord and Cherisher who created. Now he grasps that what he was required to do was to repeat. Because this Arabic word Iqra, I'm given to understand, means to read, to recite, to repeat, to rehearse, to repeat. And he repeated the words, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of the Lord and Cherisher who created. Khalaq al-insana min alaq. Say, he who created man from a mere clot of congealed blood. So he says, Khalaq al-insana min alaq. Say, Ikra wa rabbuka al-akram. So read, and the Lord is most bountiful. So he said, Ikra wa rabbuka al-akram. Say, Allazi allama bil kalam. He says, he who taught the use of the pen. So he says, Allazi allama bil kalam. So allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. He says, taught man that which he knew not. So he says, allama al-insana ma lam ya'lam. As soon as the angel departed, he is terrified, sweating all over. He runs home some 3 miles south to his dear wife, Ummul Mu'mineen Khadijatul Kubra, and he says, cover me up, cover me up. When he gets out of his excitement, he explains to her what he had seen and what he had heard. But from that day onwards, he didn't go back to the mount. This is his example. He didn't go back anymore. No more. Finished with Ghar Hira, Jabal al-Nur. Finished. What is he doing? He's in the marketplace. He's in the bazaar, souk. He's in the bazaars. What is he doing? He's accosting people. He says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Say, Akhi, where you come from? He says, Yaman. He says, you know, Allah has revealed to me that He is but one Allah and I'm His messenger. Another man, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Say, Akhi, where you come from? He says, Yathrib, Ul Madinah. He says, Allah has revealed to me that is but one Allah and I'm his messenger. Like a madman. Little wonder they call him Majnoon. Allah had to testify. Ma anta bi ni'mati rabbika bi majnoon. He said, by the grace of thy Lord, your companion is not mad or possessed. They're thinking he's mad. But he's doing the job, his master's job. This is where you and I are supposed to be. Allah tells us, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. So most certainly in the apostle of Allah, you have the best exemplar. This is the example he set us. You and I are supposed to stand in the marketplace, proclaiming the unity of God. All the mushriks are abounding around you. Call them. He said, Rama is God, it's a la sharika lak. So Krishna is God, it's a la sharika lak. So Jesus is God, it's a la sharika lak. So Buddha is God, it's a la sharika lak. This is your job, my job. But I know you are terrified. You are terrified. Me too. I'm telling you, it's a terrifying thing. You know, today nobody will stone you. Wallah, if you did that, nobody will hurt you physically. Then what are we afraid of? Of ridicule. What will people say? So Deedat is gone off his rocker. Deedat is mad. The Sheikh is mad. Dr. Billah is mad. Yes, we are afraid of that. You know that? We are terrified. People will call us mad. Thinking maybe you had a little tipsy, you might have taken something to drink, or had taken some drugs. Then look at him. This man standing in the marketplace in the street corner, shouting, Allahu Akbar, shouting, La Sharika Lak. He's mad. We are terrified of that. I said, you know, there is another way. You can get out of the difficulty. We discovered it. You see, necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity. You want to do something? Then you find ways and means. You know, I can't do it. I can't stand there in the marketplace. The nearest I got to that was in Mombasa, at a place called Mwambo Tayari. People who know Mombasa, they might remember. There's a bus stop. I went and delivered lectures in the bus stop. On a drum. I stood on a drum and with a mic in my hand I started lecturing. Because the people there, they were doing that kind of thing. It encouraged me. But in Durban, I can't. In London, I can't do it. I did it there because it looked like everybody was mad like me, so it didn't matter. I said the second best thing. I said necessity is the mother of invention. We invented an idea. He said, look, you know, today we are able of capturing these jinns. You know, old people, they talk about, you know, making, we say, tabe, you know, controlling jinns, that you can call them and make them to do things. Like Aladdin, his wonderful lamp. You rub the lamp and the jinn comes along and you tell him what to do for you. That kind of people, you know, there's jinns under your control. These modern jinns, TV stations, radios, TVs, monitors, VCR. They are jinns under your control. I said, use them, man. You can't do it yourself. So we said, look, I'll show you. It is so easy. Look, in Durban, a country in South Africa, you know, the land of apartheid, a racist country, very oppressive. The whole world, this is like the polecat of the world, stinking. That nation stinks. My nation stinks. But that nation gives me this freedom. Look at this. He's given me that freedom in the streets, in the shops, in the bazaar. Look what I'm doing. I put the monitor in the window. You know, 24 hours a day I can make it to do the work. Deedat is talking 10 hours a day, 20 hours a day. The machine, I make the machine to do the job. The jinn under our control. I say, use him, man. We are using him, look. And nobody objects. Nobody says Deedat is mad. Nobody says, because I'm not there. But I'm doing the job in the marketplace. That's outside. It's outside because inside the place is full. This is another picture of the outside. Muslims and non-Muslims, they're listening to the message. The message, they're getting entertained. And they're receiving the message. Inside the shop, inside, people sit in comfort. People sit in comfort and watch inside, the same thing. We have a monitor inside the shop, we have a monitor outside. When the place inside is full, they say, let them watch outside. Look, there's so many ways of killing a cat, if you want to. Look at it. Then in that color-conscious country, racist country, we use the masjid as a bait. You know, Allah baited Hazrat Musa alayhi salam with a fire. So we bait these people to come to the mosque. What for? They think they'll come and see something nice and funny in the mosque. They don't know the difference between a mosque and a temple. So when we say visit the largest mosque in the southern hemisphere, they think it's a temple. This is another name for a temple, a synonymous term for a temple, a Hindu temple. So they think they'll see all the monkey gods and elephant gods and snake gods all lined up. One English lady on a world tour, when she came into the masjid and when we explained to her things, she said, you know, I expected to find a funny oriental museum a la carte. Meaning that a monkey god for Monday, an elephant god for Tuesday, a snake god for Wednesday, all the gods lined up. But instead, she says, I found the truth. Another Africana lady, the ruling race, she brings her daughters during the school holidays. And she looks around the mosque and she is disappointed. What she came looking for? She says, where are the cows? You know cows, bakara, milking cows. Cows. I said, madam, have you lost your cows? She said, no. I promised to show them to my daughters. I said, madam, you have come to the wrong place. So she said, but I promised them. I said, madam, is that my fault? You promised to show cows in the mosque? I said, no. You can see cows, my people. Wallah, they are my people. I said, in Amgeni Road, a couple of kilometers away from the masjid, in Amgeni Road is the largest temple in South Africa. And you'll see everything that you want to see. Cows, monkeys, elephants, snakes, everything. My people, they look like me, speak the same language. They have the same surnames like me. You know that? Morarji Desai. You heard the name? He was the prime minister of the largest democracy in the world. He's my maternal uncle, Mamu, we call him. He drinks his own urine 6 to 8 ounces every day. That's my nation. I'm not ashamed. See, Allah took me out of it. I'm proud of that. Some Arabs, you know, alhamdulillah, they came to my part of the country and they spoke to my people. They came to do business, and in the process my ancestors, they said, these are good people, we also like to be one of you. They said, very easy, give your hand. So my ancestors gave the hand and they became Muslim. Had it not been for the Arabs, the urine of the cow, I would still be sprinkling on myself. Yes. I said, therefore, my father, every time we met an Arab as a young boy, he shook hands and he kissed the hands. And I also kissed every Arab's hand. My father was reminding me, he says, look, had it not been for these people, we would be where our cousins are still. So, they're looking for cows in the mosque. They're looking for statues in the mosque. It's an opportunity. God sent opportunity to explain to them. There is no better place than to deliver the message than in the masjid. So, we make the masjid as an attraction. Here, an African, a man who is looked down upon in South Africa, at the bottommost rung of the ladder, an African. This African is talking to European children, whites, Jews and Christians. He's talking to them about the unity of God. Look, they have come there not for that, for a lesson in theology. They have come there to be entertained. Some superficial knowledge of Islam, and we are doing the job. Look, if you want to do the job, wallah, I tell you, there are endless opportunities. It's for you, my dear brothers and sisters, and we need your help in this, that you also take this up. Start opening your mouth. Share what knowledge Allah has given you. And in that, you don't have to be an expert. If you have one fact, our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, "Balligh wa anni walau ayah." He said, deliver the message regarding me, even if you know one verse, one fact. Deliver it. Just talk, that one fact. Talk, and Allah will give you more. This is the secret of learning. Give what you have, and Allah will fill you up with more. With these words, Mr. Chairman, and my dear brothers and sisters, I'm very, very grateful to the Department of Information for creating such such wonderful opportunities for me to come along and talk to you. I had actually come to this part of the world to thank the people who had helped me in projecting me to America, rocketing me to America, to give battle to that great giant Jalut, Jimmy Swaggart. I had come along. That was my real purpose in coming to this part of the world. But as soon as I arrive, there are hazards, dangers in every job. And my job, because you're a talker, as soon as you come, it's now Mr. Deedat, we want you on the radio. Now Mr. Deedat, we want you on TV. Now Mr. Deedat, come and talk to us. These are the hazards of my occupation. I just can't help it. And so therefore now, you see, I had to plan. This lecture, I said, now as soon as I talk, I must run from here to Dubai, get away from here, because you people won't give me peace in the hotel where I am. So immediately after this, if people will allow me to get out as quick as possible, there's a motor car waiting outside to drop me, I don't know how many miles from here to Dubai, and there, if I deliver a lecture again, I must run. I have to run away from my fans. I like it, I enjoy it, but it's a bit too much for this old machine. It's 70 years and 4 days old now. So I hope you'll have a little extra mercy on me, kindness on me, to allow me to go out peacefully. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.